NXT started off tonight with a tribute graphic for Dory Funk Jr., who passed away today at the age of 85. He was an all-time wrestling legend. If you haven't had the chance, then please check out my video in which I pay tribute to him. Rest in peace, Dory Funk Jr. Also wanted to mention, Brock Lesnar officially retired from the WWE today. He announced it on the Pat McAfee show, so he is done this time. I actually produced a video on Brock in which I talked about his career and legacy after I initially thought he retired after WrestleMania. However, he came back. Now he's done. It's official. He had a good way to go out with Obafemi at SummerSlam in Minnesota, where he's from. So, thank you, Brock. Now, I wanted to get to some happy news. Bianca Belair is now a mother. Both herself and Montez Ford, they welcomed the baby son. Congratulations to them. I also wanted to congratulate Mandy Rose. Back on Friday is when she announced the birth of her son with her husband. So congratulations to her as well. That's some more positive news. Now, NXT started off tonight. The whole show really was built around Kendall Gray and Lola Vice in the underground. They showed footage from all their interactions earlier this year, first in Madison Square Garden, when they had that controversial finish back at the end of March, and then the stand and deliver triple threat with JC Jane, in which Lola Vice won the championship. Then the Great American Bash match, in which Kendall Gray defeated Lola Vice in the main event to win the NXT Women's Championship. So that's what the show was built around. The show started off tonight, however, with a tag team match. Thea Hale and Jada Parker against Carmen Petrovich and Nikita Lyons with Natty in their corner. Jada and Thea got the win. They're setting it up as if they're going to be a team now. The heels attacked them after the match, but then the baby faces fought them off. So I guess they're going to be a team. Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights argued backstage before their tag team title match tonight. It was more so not arguing. It was, Tavion trying to get Miles on the same page to get him focused. Tony D'Angelo was seen heading to the ring. They showed the footage of Brock Lesnar officially announcing his retirement on the Pat McAfee show today. So, of course, they're going to acknowledge it. I expect more of a bigger tribute video for Brock for his career on SmackDown, because I think they'll talk more about it. We'll see what Heyman does now. I guess he's going to be more aligned with Braun Breaker. Tony D'Angelo was out next. Then Grayson Waller appeared on the circular structure. They go back and forth, and then Cruz Montana. I almost called him Mike Santana. I'll be honest, I put Mike Santana down on my notes. I'm just so used to calling him that. He appeared in the crowd. I thought this segment sucked. I'm not going to lie. I didn't like it. And I really like Cruz or Mike, whatever you want to call him. I didn't like his lines today, and I didn't like Grayson Waller that much in it. I thought Tony D'Angelo was the one who was good, but I didn't like this segment. We see Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray in the locker room. Ren was nervous before her match, but Kendall was calm. Zarya was out next. Then Ren Sinclair came out during the break. We get the WWE Women's Speed Championship. Ren Sinclair and Zarya going to a time limit draw, so no one really wins. That's fine. They don't want to beat Zarya. They really don't want to take the belts off Kendall, so they just, it's a speed match. You always have that. You can just do a draw. I wish they could do more draws. Like if they were to do more time limits, they can get away with doing more draws. Do a 15-minute time limit. I don't understand why they don't do that. I really don't. Like, you can get away with a lot more by doing time limits. And if you don't want to beat anyone, you don't have to do a stupid double count out or a DQ. If they don't like beating people anyways. After the match, Zarya laid out Ren with the F5, so the feud's going to continue. OTM was going back and forth backstage, trying to reconcile their differences. Then Birthright walked in. And they argued, whatever. Vanity Project was out next. And then we go after the break. Grayson Waller was talking to Kalani Jordan in the cafe area. Then Mason Ruck confronting Grayson after Kalani left, and he was calling him fat, basically. Then Cam immediately jumps him, and they brawled. I don't like Mason Rook. I'm glad we don't see much of him anymore. Hopefully not money. I'm not a fan. I don't like Mason Rook. Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights were out next. Then we get the NXT Tag Team Championship match. The Vanity Project defending against Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. So Maya Lockwood and Jackson Drake were kicked out, and Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes eventually lose to Miles and Tavion. Good matchup. We got new champions. So Miles is now a double champion. Tavion gets a big win. He's now half of the NXT Tag Team Champions. I was looking forward to seeing Tavion turn on Miles. We're going to get that eventually, but I guess they can build it down the road. Eventually, I think they'll probably lose the tag team titles back to the Vanity Project. Then I see Tavion turning on Miles. Vanity Project were furious backstage. Keanu Carver walked by, and Maya Lockwood likes him. Like, I don't care about that. Not a fan of Keanu. I like Maya with the Vanity Project, though, because she's like the China of the group. That's why I think Shawn Michaels puts her with them. Lizzie Rain was confronted by Izzy Dame and Nico Vance backstage, and Shawn Spears walked in and announced a mixed tag team match next week. We get Keanu Carver against EK Prosper. Carver got the win. I don't care about this. We saw Dark State trying to figure out things backstage. They're kind of all lost. Then we got a stupid Instagram video with Charlotte Hill, and then we got a nice tribute video on Dory Funk Jr. It was narrated by Vic Joseph, and then fans chanted for Dory, gave him a standing ovation afterwards. That's nice to see. Look, I get it. I'm not sure how many of the fans watched or know about Dory as a wrestler, watched him, but I'm glad they're paying their respects to him. All-time wrestling legend. He definitely deserves that. So I'm happy to see that, and maybe, they give him another video package, maybe a little bit more detailed. It's hard to produce because he just died today, but maybe on Friday we get a longer tribute for Dory because really deserves it. He was a legend, and I remember when Terry died a few years ago. I think it was a day before Bray Wyatt died, and they did the double tribute on SmackDown for both of them. But it was more so focused on Bray because Terry just died, and he was a huge wrestling name and a bigger it was much more important to the wrestling business. It's sad to say than Bray was, but he was 70 in his late 70s, and they focused a lot more on Bray because he was with the main roster and he just died. But I think with Dory, like, he can get a longer, maybe I don't want to say more of a detailed tribute video, because he was a figure in the wrestling business for many years, and that'd be cool to see. He's a WWE Hall of Famer, so hopefully they do a longer tribute for Dory. We go backstage. Cruz Montana was talking to Robert Stone before Trish and Angels walked in. I thought this was a stupid segment. They preview next week's show. Then the ring was transformed into the underground. And then we saw Lola Vice and Kendall Gray heading to the ring. Lola was out next, and Kendall Gray came out with Ren Sinclair. We get the main event. This is what everything was built around tonight. The NXT Women's Championship defended in an NXT Underground match. Kendall Gray defends her title against Lola Vice. They started off with some striking. Kendall was bleeding badly from her ear. This was the spot of the night. What happened was Kendall was on the apron, and Lola dragged her off, and Kendall smacked the side of her head on the steel steps, and she was just bleeding profusely from the ear. And it got so bad that what they did was they essentially had to they wrapped a Band-Aid over her head to cover her ear. It was that bad. They couldn't just wrap her ear. They had to wrap all the way around her head to get more of to really get into to close the wound. It was that deep. They couldn't just bandage the ear by itself. They had to use the force of her whole head. It was a nasty cut. So they could have called the match off. It was bad. But Kendall showed some heart there. And then Kendall had, after the bandage was wrapped around her head, she went back in there with Lola. She had the ankle lock, but Lola reversed. Lola eventually knocks out the referee with the spinning back fist. So he's destroyed. And then eventually Lola ends up choking out Kendall Gray, but the referee was down. Then she goes to get the ref back. That's when Ren Sinclair starts slapping Kendall, wakes her up. Eventually, Kendall would end up submitting Lola Vice to the armbar once the ref is conscious again. And Kendall Gray defeats Lola Vice, wins the NXT Underground match to retain her NXT Women's Championship. The two of them embrace afterwards to end the show. They raise each other's hand. Lola raising Kendall's hand. Nice moment between the two of them. Lola emotional. She's done in NXT now. She's going to the main roster. Kendall Gray retains, and that was NXT tonight. A lot of news that was kind of, and I'll be honest, I'm burnt out. I've been so. I think I've watched now like 5 straight nights of wrestling. I feel exhausted. Yeah, like this is man. I was tired going into this show because I've been covering so much stuff, and a lot happened today. Sad news and surprising news of Brock retiring, and then so it's just like there's been a lot to do today, but in last week. But I thought NXT tonight overall was a fun show, was an entertaining show, and I enjoyed it. And the build up now was towards Heatwave. Kendall Gray is still your NXT Women's Champion, and Lola Vice is heading to the main roster now.